Yo, hey, what's going on, guys?
Kratos.
What's going on?
About that thing we were talking about offline. I got one of my homies in your tax bracket looking around for you.
Oh yeah,
local though. Yeah, he knows a car broker, so
okay. I'm gonna see. Hey, we live now.
Okay, yeah. Nice. Yeah, we'll talk after the podcast.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't want y'all to spill any Russian secrets or any shit like that.
No.
Oh, no. you just got flagged. You were on the list.
That's it. Normally Kratos and Craig, they start their gaming banter, and like in the middle of when they get heated, that's when I hit the live button because that's when they're at their best, and they don't notice. I mean, they start going in, and I'm like, start podcast.
I like how you do that. That shit's funny.
Yeah, I just put it, but it's awesome because they're so real and authentic. I'm like, oh man, people gotta see this. This is when they're at their best and stuff like that. Hey, like, so anyway, it's the behind the scenes, you know. It's the extra scenes that people get, you know.
Exactly.
When they buy it's the director's cut. Anyway, welcome aboard, my friends, my family, and fellow gamers. It's your boy Porter Rock 77 coming back at you with your favorite podcast on the Wednesday that starts at 8 p.m. and is hosted by a Puerto Rican. I guarantee there's no other podcast that's better than that. All right. Anyway, I got the recurring crew. Alex is gonna join us in a few. And I got a special guest today. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really happy. We're gonna introduce him first. It's my man Silver Sky. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? I appreciate you having me on. And apparently, I have the most feminine, awesome name on the planet.
So the story behind that. All right. So maybe you would think being a Marine, I would keep it simple, right? But no, I had to overthink it. I'm looking at his name. I'm like, all right, so Silver Sky. But is it really Silver Sky? Because it's kind of feminine. I'm like, I'm thinking, damn, I'm afraid I might say it, and then he gets pissed off. So I'm thinking, all right, and I know we talked about Europe, so I'm thinking maybe he's European. So is it Silversky? Yeah, that's it. It's Silversky. That's his name. And then when I did it, he looked at me like an idiot. He's like, what? It's Silver Sky. I'm like, man, I don't know how I fucked that up. Talk about punting shit to the stands. And I feel like the field goal kickers in the Super Bowl just couldn't make it.
My whole flow is messed up now. I can't get it off my mind. Damn it!
Right. Yo, he's gonna redo his channel. He's gonna call that.
The whole thing's done now.
He's gonna be like, he's like masculine man 590. But hey, brother, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to your comments. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining. All right. Hey, and there's a rule. Once you're on this podcast for the first time, you're considered family. You're welcome anytime. You know.
Oh, fair enough. I appreciate it.
So now you could go to the fridge directly. All right. After this podcast.
That's awesome.
All right. And of course, we got everybody's favorite, the Messiah of Xbox. But of course, he's top flight security of the world, Craig Harris.
What is happening? I'm excited to be here and ready to get the topics going. Let's roll.
Awesome, man. And then, of course, we got the God of Cardboard, the most toxic personality in gaming. Absolutely. It doesn't matter how much charitable events he does. He will forever be the most toxic gamer, propagating this console war. And it's Kratos. What's going on, Jay?
Yo, hey everybody, it's your boy J-Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation and all things gaming. Again, here, 60 frames, no lag. Let's get it.
Definitely. And Alex, he tweeted, he DM'd us saying that, yeah, he's joining in. If anything, he's the most toxic dude. That dude is ruthless. How does he get away with it? But anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Moves on nicely to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you stopping by, rocking out with us. I hope you enjoyed the show. But anyway, we're gonna kick it off with something light. We're gonna kick it off with Shadow Colossus. Is anybody here playing it? Let's throw out this: who played the original on the PS2? Well, who has it?
I did not play it on PS2.
You didn't play on PS2? How about you, Craig?
I played it for like an hour, and I didn't care for it. And so I ended up getting the SOCOM game, I think.
All right. How about you, Craig?
Yeah, I got it. And
on a PS2?
I had it on PS2, yeah. I still have it.
All right, so the other two members, I'm about to eject y'all. Thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping by. Nah, but, all right, so it's a classic game. So now it's a remake, they remake or whatever. Seen streams. Is anybody interested in this game and this panel or looking forward to it?
I'm interested in
that
it.
son bitch forever ago.
What happened?
Wait. Say it. What was the question?
Are you interested in the new remake or the remake of Shadow Colossus?
I pre-ordered that son bitch forever ago.
Did you? Nice. So are you playing it now?
Yeah.
Okay, how you liking it?
I love it. I mean, I played it on PlayStation Now a while back because I got into a debate with one of my buddies in real life because some of us have real friends, and I debated him about God of War versus Shadow of the Colossus and which one was better. And then my dumb ass went into that argument not knowing shit about Shadow of the Colossus at all. And so when we were going back and forth, he sold me on this epic game that I'd never heard of. And this was prior to even really knowing what The Last Guardian was. And then I fell into a rabbit hole and went through an ass load of research. And yeah, I fell in love with it before I even played it.
In fact, you did a video on the developer, didn't you? Like,
yeah, 2 of them. And that was a pain in the ass. I had to use Google Translate and shit.
Yeah, that. Hey, I'm gonna put that link of that video in the description box by the end of the show. Fantastic video. In fact, you sent it to me in the DM, and check out his channel, of course. You run a YouTube channel, right?
I wouldn't say I run it. I just dabble in it here and there.
You enjoy it. Is that something you do on your off time, or are you looking into growing it?
I'm really wishy-washy. I don't want to commit to anything.
Okay. You're just gonna go with the wind, take it as it goes.
Yeah, when I get motivated, I'll do something.
Okay, but not bad, for that video he did. It was excellent. There was some stuff I learned that I didn't even know. So you did some great research.
Well, I appreciate it,
on that. So that was fantastic. So we'll start off with this. If you haven't played the game, for the people who are in the chat not listening, if you never owned the PS2, if you never bothered to play this game, because it's not like one of those big hit games, it's not like the Call of Duties. It doesn't sell 10 million. You don't see it every day. But I will say this: it's probably and maybe those who did play it, you could agree with me. It's probably one of the best experiences for something that's a simple concept. It's an open world, and you're facing just 16 Colossi. That's it. You don't have enemies in between. You're not doing all this extra shit. But would you not agree? It's just an amazing experience seeing this. It's like playing David and Goliath over and over versus 16 Colossi in a unique way. Well, how you gentlemen feel about that?
Definitely.
I'm going to try to stay quiet because I talk too much sometimes on these things.
No. In this one, go ham. Especially the guests. You guys, we expect you to talk the most. Because you're a fresh face.
There's a reason why that game is listed as top 5 of all time on several lists across the interwebs, right? I mean, that game is phenomenal. Breath of the Wild was inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. If you don't believe me, look it up. The actual director said that. If anybody out there loves Dark Souls, you would not have a Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne without Ico, because that game, which is the prequel to, or I guess the first game of before Shadow of the Colossus, and that guy was inspired to create games by that game in itself. So if you love those games, you owe it to yourself and to the developers behind them to play Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian. And all you motherfuckers out there that didn't buy The Last Guardian, shame on you. You're a goddamn disgrace.
Shame.
I apologize.
Last Guardian was a pretty good game. It was really good.
I love that damn game.
Yeah, it was really a good game. I was impressed by it. But you could tell it was still like there was a lot of frame rate hits, and it was just weird shit that was going on. I'm thinking, man,
don't be
there was some roughness, but overall it was a good game. But Shadow Colossus is just when I see people now who bought the remaster and they saying they playing it for the first time, I'm honestly jealous. Because I'll never get that feeling back again. When I first played it, and this was on the PS2, running at 15 frames, and I was just in awe at what was going on. Like normally before that game, whenever you see a giant boss that's huge, it's usually a background. You didn't really interact with someone that huge. But in this game, you're climbing. The mechanics, a bit of puzzle, it's just been phenomenal, and I'm like, this game's incredible.
There's I'm gonna give everybody a tip with Fumio Ueda's games, Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. A lot of people complain about the camera, and the reason why I can't answer as to why that is, other than the obvious. But what helps you is to not use the camera like you would in a normal game. what they do is he pans the camera, zooms, and does all that, moves away from walls automatically. And so what ends up happening is as you're moving the camera, because you're used to playing modern games, the camera is actually fighting against the auto cameras, like what for lack of a better term. And you'll notice in Shadow of the Colossus as you're riding the horse and stuff, the camera will pan out and put you over to the left or the right to kind of give you a cinematic feel and give you a wide view of the environment around you. So try not to use the right stick very much. Yeah, unless you just have to.
That's a great point, because that's what I noticed. Especially with Shadow Colossus, I noticed. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna mess with the camera. It's obvious. You could get this feeling that the director is purposely doing things the way it is. Just let him do it. Just let his vision fall through. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna accept my fate. And it's actually more enjoyable if you just let the game do it what it's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty. You know. So Jay, how you liking it?
Well, I've played literally every bit of 30 minutes of it so far, and I really went in there. You know, as soon as it came out, I woke up the next morning, popped it in, did a little live stream for about 30 minutes. I spent 30 minutes capturing screenshots. This is how beautiful this freaking game is, and it's like, geez. So I mean, a lot of you guys probably saw on Twitter. I mean, everybody's for the last 2 days have been bombarding Twitter with a bunch of those screenshots of the game. It just looks beautiful. And again, the monsters are so huge, just like the first game, but just the scale of it and what they did with the graphics. I mean, it's like they dialed it up to 100. In digital, and keep in mind, Digital Foundry has said, hey, this game here in every shape, form, or fashion will surpass most AAA brand new games out there. So
yeah, it's phenomenal, man. Yeah. Like there's literally a blade of grass everywhere. Like it shit is phenomenal. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say with that statement is because some games are just timeless, and this is one of those few games that it'll never get old.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that Digital Foundry they really threw a lot of people into a tizzy with their comments over this game. So about how good it was, and how it looked, and I've seen the screenshots, and people genuinely seem like they're excited about playing it, and it's going to be a May game for me. So I'll be picking it up in May definitely. So I'm gonna get it after Nino Kuni too. So that's the next.
Is that your brother? Y'all sound exactly the same.
Oh yeah, that's my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, that's the Messiah of Xbox.
Craig Harris not sounding so Messiah-y right now. Yeah, he has to do like the trumpets and the angels have to sing, all that stuff.
That's only when I'm forgiving sins, which I've done plenty today.
But definitely, so to the chat, everybody, if you haven't played this game, if you have a PS4, and even if you're a primary Xbox dude, and your secondary platform is your PlayStation for just exclusives, this is definitely, ignore the banter. And this is the next thing I want to talk about is the hate behind this remaster.
I got attacked for posting one screenshot. So
oh shit! Oh my man! Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? How y'all?
So how you enjoying Shadow of Colossus?
Man, motherfuckers talk about the water in Sea of Thieves, the water. well, here's my rebuttal: the fur. No, seriously, man, this game blew me away. Like, this is me and my brother. We share a special bond with this game. As a kid, I mean, he beat my brother. We're 10 years apart, right? He beat this game twice. I beat it twice on my own, but he beat it twice at the age of 6. So
holy cow!
Wow.
He was really. This is like the first game he was really into on the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I bought it for him for Christmas when it came out. I think it got re-released once.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it again, and we just share a bond with the game. Period. The game is phenomenal, dude. It looks great. I mean, this is probably the best remake of a game besides Ratchet and Clank that I've played.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, this game is definitely for $40. It was ahead of its time. You know what I mean? Period. We're not going to deny that. But the hate for the game, listen, I mean, it's a complete remake. It's not a remaster. You know what I mean? So I think they said they have a separate GPU for the fur itself.
Yeah.
So it's a very intensive game. It's a classic. It's a masterpiece. You know, play it, enjoy it. I mean, the game's not typically that hard, so you can kind of breeze through it. But man, give this game a shot, man. If you haven't.
Yeah. Definitely. I know people have their opinions between backwards compatibility and remasters, but at the end of the day, if you own a PlayStation 4 and you haven't played this game, and whether it's your main platform or your secondary platform, you owe it to yourself to play this game because it's not going to be anything else like it, and it's a timeless game. You know, people will always look back. I mean, look how people are talking about it now. And when did this game come out? Like 2004?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 5.
2005? So 13 years, you know, and it's just phenomenal. And nothing much have to change. It's a phenomenal game. I think every you owe it to yourself. If you have the ability to play it. Forget about the console war. Forget about that. It's not the most popular game in the world. It doesn't sell 20 million. You know, it doesn't have commercials with movie stars and all that craziness. But it's an experience. It's just a good game that you don't want to miss out on anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Porter, I'll say something about that because All Day makes a real good point, and I loved what he said because somebody was trying to give him some shit on Twitter, and what he said was perfect. He said great games need to be played.
Facts.
Yeah, that's just a masterpiece that needs to be experienced. Period.
Yeah, and you're right. I agree 100%. You know. This bunch of front row riding bitches is what they
are. Look, man, fuck the console war. Did you motherfuckers forget about games? What's the most important thing we play for? Why I hit that power button? Why I grab that controller? To play fucking games.
That's it, you know.
Period,
give these developers the opportunity. I mean, we want developers to be creative, but then when they are creative, we don't want to try it because it's not what we're used to. Like you can't have it can't go both ways. You know?
I mean, look at it this way. Look at Fury, and look at I forgot. There's a lot of indie games that copied this path.
Yeah,
boss battling game. Cuphead, for instance, started off as a boss battling game. You know what I mean? This game set trends, so respect it.
Okay, you were gonna say something, Silver? It looked like he was ready to drop some knowledge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you know what's more toxic than Kratos?
Nothing's more toxic than Kratos. He is by far King Toxic. He is the god of toxicity.
What's more toxic than Kratos is a share button on PS4.
Bro, that's a motherfucker, ain't it?
Dude, I see Xbox dudes getting mad as fuck. Why is Horizon still being screenshotted? I don't want to see this trash. It's like, y'all are some fucking idiots. Get the fuck.
Yo, exactly. I think it was one of my friends on Windy City. So he did a screenshot of Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, and he went at him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's like, I just did 2 screenshots. Like, that's it. That's all it was. He didn't even say anything about Xbox. Hell, he just got his PS4 during the holidays, so he's happy to play it. Yo, that share button, that feature of sharing and the screen directly posting to Twitter, like, changed the game for console.
Oh yeah.
That triggers so many people.
I have a question. Ahead. So this is where I'm gonna get made fun of by my homeboys, but what I hear that PC is the master race, but how come I never see screenshots of their games?
Oh shit!
I'm just curious
because they don't want to bless.
You got to get F1, F2, F3. Hold it.
They don't want to bless us 1080p plebs with 4K greatness.
I thought they had to download some kind of driver to do it or something.
I would say, you know what I say about the PC community? I have nothing against the platform. The platform by far, when it comes to power, performance, adaptability, options, PC is by far the best. But what's weird is like PC gamers, they kind of throw themselves into the console war, but yet they're not fully committed. It's weird. It's a weird community because, like, you're right. They don't do things like that. They don't post pictures on Twitter. They don't mention a lot of stuff. The only time you start hearing things about PC is when 2 console guys talking. Like when an Xbox and a PlayStation guy talks, all of a sudden there's a PC guy right in the middle. But if those conversations ever happen, you won't hear from them.
But doesn't the share button and all that stuff, doesn't that kind of convolute back to why we're console gamers? It's a lot more social. You know what I mean? It's accessible. It's easy. Hit the button, post it, and watch you get some acid in your throat. You know what I mean?
Like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just that's a good point. Yeah, because, go ahead.
That share button is that did change a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I didn't realize it was that big a deal. Like when they announced it, when they announced the PS4, I'm like, what's the big deal about that? I mean, that's all I remember. I said that out loud. But yeah, I do use that thing. I play that Mass Effect Andromeda, and I drop my pictures and I just put the superior console. That's it. That's the end of my statement. So,
I'll be honest. The share button, I didn't think much of it because I'm not a game streamer. I only streamed a few times. I post pictures here and there, but I never really saw the big deal. I thought it was just, PlayStation fanboys overdoing it. Mm-hmm. It was up until I got my Xbox and how challenging it is to do anything in terms of social media. And I don't do it often. Yeah. So when I do it, like the one time I wanted to do it, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm like, I don't post anything from the Xbox. It's just too much work. I'm like, fuck. Now I see what people are talking about. Like the place is literally you press a button and boom, like you're there, you're in there. You're streaming on YouTube or you're streaming on Twitter. You post a picture instead of a link. It's just simple. And with the Xbox, I'm thinking, man, how did Microsoft fuck this up? Like,
well, what it did for me was that the photo mode kind of created an experience in itself, because like Horizon, for instance, The Order, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted, I mean, all the ones that have utilized it, I've put hours upon hours of just trying to get the right shot. And then I line it up, I get all the filters right, and then I'm like, that looks good. And I'll just back out. I don't even do anything with it. But I've made videos just out of my screenshots. Like that shit, I put, like Horizon, I put 10 hours just in the photo mode. Like it's just ridiculous.
Facts.
I know exactly what you mean because I hardly use photo mode, but when I was doing Horizon, like in the beginning, I'm like, all right, let me fuck around with this. Then next thing you know, 4 hours later, I'm trying to position the sun in the exact perfect angle. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to get her hair. All right, then I'm selecting her face. I'm like, no, pout, baby girl. There you go. Right there you go. Then I choose saturation. I'm like, I'm doing all this shit just to get this one shot. All right, and then it's fantastic. It's true what you said. It's just pretty cool the creativity you could do with these shots and enjoy the game and enjoy what the developers created. What are you gonna say all day?
Yeah. Okay.
All day?
Oh, I'll say real quick. If you follow Guerrilla Games on Twitter, those shots that are coming in that people have. Those are amazing for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah,
this the screen, this the shot.
Yeah, I've seen some.
Those are amazing.
I've seen some creative, nice looking shots too. I'm like, wow, there's some creativity, and that's just pretty good. Let me pay the bills real quick. Daniel J, thank you for the super chat. Daniel J says the photo mode makes me feel like a photographer, cameraman, and then, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. You feel like a professional photographer, but this time you have control of the whole world. Nighttime, daytime, whatever, all these options, and it's just phenomenal, and it's just a great thing.
Let me correct Keybot real quick. I remember he made a rebuttal video about Windy City and about he's all
he made a video.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
For like
the car one.
Because he was like, yeah, because when you put the filters on, you know what I'm saying, you put the filters on there. And once you put the filters on there, it makes the image better. And it's not. I say, listen, bro. Filters, different color filters, or light and dark imagery is not going to change the graphical fidelity you're seeing on screen.
No.
It's just a color swap, or to bring out certain blacks or certain colors.
Who said that?
It's not altering the game.
Who said
Ebot?
Oh, Jesus.
The funny part is, let's say like, the lighting makes the game look better. I'm like, you mean the lighting that's in game? That's part of the game. It's gonna make the game look like this. I'm like, listen to what you're saying.
Oh my
you're
God.
saying the lighting is gonna make the game look better. The lighting that is already part of the game.
Right. So
that lighting,
4, you put it in 8-bit mode. That just now all of a sudden Uncharted 4 has terrible graphics. God damn, these people.
Oh man, it's just crazy. Well, it's just funny. I don't know. I don't get it. But it is what it is. But anyway, back to Shadow Colossus. Enjoy it. If you got a PlayStation, just take the plunge, play it. Believe me, it's an experience you'll probably never get again.
I got a quick question. If you pre-ordered it, you get the life sword or whatever. Do you have to equip that, find that, or do you already have it? Does anybody know?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
because I got it, and I don't know what
I don't remember equipping anything in the PlayStation 2. So maybe it's automatic.
I played it on PlayStation Now. I got halfway through it, and I don't ever remember that either. So I don't know. Anyway, I was just curious.
Yeah, I have no idea, bro.
Let's see. Maybe the chat. Hey, chat, can you help us out in this one? If you pre-order Shadow Colossus and you get the Life Sword, is that something that's automatically equipped when you start the game, or is there something you have to do? We'll find out.
How much was the collector's edition of Shadow Colossus?
Who bought that? Did anybody get the collector's edition?
No, because they didn't have a statue, so fuck them.
Oh, really? Well, what's in the collector's edition?
Kratos, you got it, right? Well, he must.
Kratos? Well, what's in the collector's edition?
I think it comes with like a some art. It comes with like I think with some art and damn, what else does it come with? Some stickers.
Vinyl. I think it's a vinyl of the soundtrack, which is dope.
Oh yeah. That
would have been. But you know,
wait.
Like a Colossi though.
There's no statue.
No statue.
With a game that's based on a huge
statue.
No statue.
That would have been cool. Like they would have had 16 different collector's edition, but each collector edition has its own statue. See, you know how many people? You know how many people would have bought all 16? That would have been like.
For sure.
The game would have sold like 5 million copies to like 200,000 people. But I think that they should have done that. Add a different Colossi. That would have been phenomenal. People would have bought all 16. Yes, I guarantee. Yes. People would have bought all 16. That's kind of that would have been big. That would have been bigly.
That's like Microsoft fuckery right there.
Yeah, man. I wonder how Sony fucked that one up.
Did Record get a collectible ball or something? Or, I mean,
hey, I don't know. You can't throw shade at the Xbox's version of Zelda. Come on now.
No. Oh shit. Yo, when I saw that, I was like, okay.
You know what? The comparison, I get it about the dungeon crawling.
Now we're not, we treading cocaine. Cocaine's a hell of a drug now.
I get it, but I'm saying, like, come on, Zelda, nah, bro.
Whoever wrote that's on straight methamphetamine.
Record's a glorified cell phone game, bro.
Shit. Like Record, that shit. Like I was playing it, and halfway through it, the game glitched, so I can't progress no more. And I'm like, I'm not playing this. I'm not starting over. I'm like, nah, this game's not that good for me to start all over. And I'm like, I'm done. I got about a little halfway through it, and that's it. That's my story of Record. That's my taste of Xbox's Zelda for me.
When I played it, I felt like it belonged on the PS2, man. Period.
All right, next topic. We'll move on unless somebody got anything else. But I think we all agree, if you haven't played Shadow Colossus, play it. You owe it to yourself. Next thing I want to talk about, this something came out of, apparently it's been around for 3 years, but a Netflix style service for on PC has already over 700 games, and it's called Utomik.
I saw that just before I got on here.
Yeah, and it's coming out, and it's coming
attacked already.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, oh shit, this is interesting because I never heard of it. No one really talks about it, and it's been in beta for a while, and now it's coming out of beta. It already has multiple plans, like a single person plan is $7.99 a month. A family of 4 plan is like $14.99, and it already has over 700 games. I looked at the list. I'll post it in the description box. A lot of it's like indies and PC, very PC centric games like Job Simulator, stuff like that, which kind of makes sense since it's only available on PC. But it's funny because we have a lot of conversation about Game Pass and Microsoft's forward thinking in terms of this service, but this service was already here. So how did this get under the radar?
Is it download based or is it cloud based?
No, it's download based.
Okay.
So it's similar.
And did any games catch your eye that stood out?
So I saw a couple of AAAs like Batman. I saw Borderlands. I saw The Walking Dead. I saw a lot of old stuff. Like I saw Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 on there. I saw
they said that they have they've already got agreements.
Yes.
Locked down for day one, for new AAA games. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I just saw that. I just saw that like that. Wow, that's pretty weird. In fact, I'll post it. Maybe on the list, I'll post it in the chat so you guys could browse through it. But it's pretty interesting that how this came out of the blue. So let me ask this: did Microsoft announcements put a spotlight now on all these services that were pretty much in the back burner? Nobody was really talking about it. the Game Pass shine a light now, and now everybody's like, hey, we been had this. Look at me. And now, so what do you think about that, guys?
Well, I think Game Pass is a competitor is Redbox because that's exactly what it is. It's a giant. So except the Xbox X is black, so it's not a Redbox. I call mine the Xbox, the Redbox One. So, but actually, it's I think it probably did, but I like Game Pass. I think it's a good idea, and so I can't. I'm not hating on the Game Pass. I don't understand why people don't like it, but it keeps Microsoft in the game. It differentiates their console from a PlayStation and a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo system. So I like Game Pass. So I'm in the minority, I guess, but people hate it.
Right here, looking through the list, I see Alpha Protocol as a notable game. Arcania, scrolling down. All the Back to the Future Telltale games is on there. Batman, the Arkham City and Arkham Asylum is on there. I see a couple. So Borderlands, I see there. So there's some games, a lot of indies and shovelware, and a lot of games that are like very PC, like Commandos. Y'all remember that PC game?
Yep.
Yeah, that's on there. So it's a very Dark Side is on there. So here's my thing. So when I posted this, I just posted the news. I'm like, hey, this is, whatever, that's what I do and shit like that. And already people are feeling some type of way over this. I'm like, what the like they're like, oh, this service is trash. Microsoft nothing to worry about. I'm like, whoa, who said anything that this was gonna destroy Game Pass? Like, I didn't say anything. Like, all I said is this service is on PC. Yeah. And they're already competing, and it's kind of like Netflix. Netflix, when it first started out and they first started the streaming service, it wasn't like good. There was a lot of trash on there, Yeah. Eventually, you have to build, just like Game Pass. When Game Pass first came out, let's be honest, it wasn't good. I looked at the library. I was like, what the fuck is all this shit? Like, I'm not, like, there's nothing here that I want to play. Like, there's a lot of old shit, too. And I think most services like that is going to start out with old stuff, but they have to build their library with new content and make it more attractive, I mean, exactly. Netflix streaming wasn't the way it was, what it is now. Now you got Cloverfield right after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was awesome, by the way. I don't care what anybody says.
Did you? Oh, I'm gonna see that.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm looking for no spoilers.
Well, I'm a fan, obviously, of the first two movies, so I thought
I liked it. What is it? The Cloverfield, the one in the barn.
1, 2, 3,
Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Yes, that I liked. The first one was okay, but that one was cool because the chick thought he was just a nutcase, and then all of a sudden when she finally escaped, the shit's like an invasion. She's like,
exactly. She found out it was real.
Yeah, that's just hilarious. I thought it was fantastic, but with this Utomik service, right? Let's look at it. Do you guys think Sony is also looking into this type of service as well?
They had it first. They were doing it through PlayStation Now.
Well, besides PlayStation Now, I'm talking about like what they do. Yeah, technically, I'm talking about natively for PS4. Yeah, for PS4 specifically.
No, I don't think so.
I think this is what's going to happen. It's what I said this in 2014. What they're going to do is they're going to implement the Gaikai service on the back end of PS Plus, which means if you buy a game digitally, you're going to be able to then take that game and remote play it anywhere, like on your cell phone, and because that's why they implemented the Android betas and stuff to play your PS4 games remotely with the DS4. I think that's what they're going to implement. I don't know if they're going to do it this generation, but they're going to do that very soon. And that's how they're going to compete.
Yeah, I will say this: PS Now as a separate service, this is I don't think it's good. It doesn't make sense to me. And I mentioned this before. It doesn't make sense for me to play a PlayStation 4 game streaming on my console that can play the game natively and provide a better experience. Especially like for you pro owners with the PS4 Pro, that really doesn't make sense. Like you're gonna play a game in such lower resolution, such lower performance when you have a console that's supposed to provide the experience that you guys pay for. It just PS Now as it is doesn't make sense. Now, what you said, Silver, that does make sense. Like you play a game, but then when you're on the go, you're able to play that game on the go on another device. All right, I get that. That does make sense. You have access to the game other than when your console's not available. I could pretty much understand that. But on the console streaming the game, when you're playing it on the very console that can render it, that doesn't make sense. I just don't see the appeal in that one.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay. All right. So, what do you guys think about this Utomik? Have you guys looked at the link?
I think, I mean, if Game Pass is okay, right?
Yeah.
All they have to do is bring the content, and I think it'll be viable. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's trash. I remember when I bought the NVIDIA Shield. When I first bought that, I thought, hey, I can stream the games from my PC over to my PC with little to no lag, and it worked. It worked fine. And then NVIDIA came out with their streaming service, and it worked. It worked just fine. So maybe, I don't know. Again, with all these different services, we're still going to be at the helm of your ISP. However fast your internet connection speed, up and down, it's going to take into account. So they can come out with a million services, but until the bulk of the people have decent internet that can be able to sustain that, I think it's still a gimmick.
I'm gonna do a $5 super chat. Shout out Lionel, my man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and the show. I appreciate it, brother. He says Game Pass like services are great for older games, like a year or two old. Here's, this is interesting. So you got a Utomik service, right, on PC. Now pretty much it's bare bones, a lot of older titles, but they said they're working with third parties to get titles day one, brand new games. Let's say Utomik pulls it off, right? On PC, you get these major third-party titles, from EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Capcom, whoever, and they're able to get those big games day one on this service, right? And Microsoft is able to pull off the same thing with Game Pass. They're able to get the Call of Duties, the Maddens, Battlefront, Battlefield, Anthem, Grand Theft Auto, all these big games on Game Pass day one for $10 a month. And Utomik is able to do it for $7.99 a month. Do you think this will force Sony's hands into implement that? Because I'm gonna tell you, that's a pretty appetizing. At that point, those services are really appetizing to be able to play those games day one for $7.99. Do you think that will force Sony's hands now to actually go that route when Microsoft has it and PC has it? And why? And if you think no, why would you say no?
No, because the games that everybody want are the IPs that Sony have. Yes, the multiplats are going to come, but I mean, if all you're going to do with your streaming service is have a bunch of multiplats, nobody's missing out on anything. You see what I'm saying? You're not fixing the problem. The problem is, how do I get these big blockbuster IPs that sell and do really well? That's the problem. I just don't know.
Let me ask you this. PlayStation does have a lot of people that don't buy a lot of games. When you sell 80, 90 million, you have a lot of people that only play games few and far between, right? Yeah. And it's the Maddens, the Call of Duties. You have a lot, and they occasionally might play, the God of War, or they might go, oh man, this Horizon Dawn might look good, whatever. When these people hear that other platforms have these same games, but now they're not paying $60 or $120 a year for 2 games, they're only paying $8 a month, and now they have access to everything. Almost every new game that's out there, day one.
That's not realistic, because you already have Ubisoft with their whatever the fuck it's called. You got EA Access. In reality, what's going to happen is every major publisher, is going to branch off and do their own service. Yeah. So what they're going to pick up, what the Game Pass is going to pick up, whatever the PC version is going to be like your Dirt 4. It's going to be the smaller. And now here's the kicker, in my opinion, for all these services is as well as talking about last night on the broadcast. So what I'm worried about is if you get what a lot of people feel like Netflix gets, which is the complacency, meaning when you have all this money coming in, and depending on how they divvy out that fund, the funds coming in, it could get really bad, because you could have first party, they're like, oh, well, this game's not quite ready. It's kind of mediocre, but we don't need it to be stellar. We don't need 10s. All we need to do is put more titles on there and get people's attention. If it's pretty enough, they'll come and they'll buy. If we have them coming out steadily, they'll keep buying month to month, but we don't have to innovate. That's the only issue I can see with it, is if they get complacent.
Oh, so pretty much these services could stagnate.
Right.
pretty much the quality of content. Because it's one thing to make a game and expect somebody to pay $60. It's another thing when they're just paying $7.99. So they could just release derivative titles, and as long as it's just possibly just release something new. Don't worry about it being like a masterpiece. Like, don't worry about releasing the Shadow Colossus. Just keep making this generic title, and as long as it's a shiny new game, people are gonna be happy because they're only paying.
Yeah, exactly. It's the reverse. It's the reverse philosophy of what Sony does. What Sony does is, and Yoshida said this, I think 2 years ago. What they focus on is they want to come out with 10 games. Out of those 10 games, they only need one of them to be a big sell because it'll make up for all the other ones. And so what Game Pass could essentially do is the reverse of that. And that's what, to me, that could be a huge problem for the entire industry, not just on that platform.
You know that's true.
We don't want to flood the industry, right? The community with a bunch of mediocre games, and that's part of the problem.
You know that's a good point, because let's say if gaming goes in this direction, and you pay $7.99 a month, $8 a month, $10 a month, as a gamer, you really don't have much room to complain about the quality of a game. You're only paying $10, so shut up. You know, it's one thing when you buy a game for $60. I mean, when you think about it, it's one thing when you pay a game for $60 and it's just one game. It's another when you pay $10. You know, and people be like, "Well, I pay $10." They'd be like, "Yeah, you pay $10 to have a library of 800 games." So really, it's like less than a penny a title. So you have no room to complain about quality.
But see, how does Rockstar fit into that equation? Because now they're only making one game every 5 years, so they can't justify a $9.99 a month, right? So they're not going to want. They don't like that model. So how does that work? How does that play into it? You know, I don't know.
Yes, that's true. I think this is going to be challenging to get the bigger studios to ride on, or at least if a big studio is like joining or making deals with Utomik or Game Pass, they're probably making deals with their smaller titles. You know, you know, the little bullshit phone games or smaller titles, but nothing big. They're gonna keep the Maddens out. They're gonna keep the Battlefield out.
Right, but that's
Call of Duty won't be a part of this.
That's also a good thing though, because depending on how, if they pay based on download, right? So that you could get a bunch of Rocket Leagues out of that. So that's a really good thing in that way. So
interesting.
Yeah, I think the whole digital thing is something that Microsoft's going to do and probably be the leader in, for the simple fact that they can't look. They went toe to toe with Microsoft, or I'm sorry, with Sony, and they got Godzilla. I mean, they got Freight Train. So this way, they can go ahead and create their own space, and then they'll be the leader in that space. And I think it's a really good idea. I agree with the AAA games. I don't think a lot of them are going to come along. But if they can get one or two, that's pretty much all you need. You know, they're not going to get a Madden or a Grand Theft Auto because, like you guys were just saying, Rockstar was only making, you know, a game every 40 months or 48 months. But can they, you know, get a smaller, you know, game? Yeah. I mean, maybe an Anthem. They may be able to get an Anthem. We don't know. Here's what I do know. I'm going to pay $10 for it. So, I mean, I'm not ever going to buy another Microsoft game again, where Sony and Nintendo, to a certain point, they are going to always cater to the physical, the guy that wants the physical stuff, you know, the midnight launch guy, that guy. Yeah. And so it's two separate ways to reach your user base. And Sony doesn't need a service like that. And so they won't use it. You know, Microsoft needs it. You know, they needed to do something to get out of the physical space because they're getting pummeled. You know, it's something fun away. So go ahead, Jado. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. Okay, when you're the leader, when you're the winner in something, when you're leading, you're the one that get to make the rules. You don't follow the guy that's not making the rules. You don't follow the guy in the back. So regardless of what Microsoft does, right? They did Game Pass. They didn't do it because they wanted to do it. They did it because the last 4 to 5 years have shown them that this is the only viable space that they can attempt to try, and it may be successful. So when they started this the generation in 2013, they went into it just like they did every generation. They went in playing for keeps. But whatever happened throughout this generation, their fans said, we don't want it, or they didn't go for it. So therefore, Microsoft is like, hey, let's make some revenue off of these multiplayer games, because that's what they're offering, a bunch of recurring multiplayer games. And we're also going to just have this service. You guys pay us a subscription fee. You got EA access. You got the Mixer thing that you pay for. You have, all these different things that's penny pinching, 40, 30, 50 bucks a month out of your pocket. And think about it. They don't have the type of games that's going to allow them to lose a lot of money, right? They got State of Decay, Crackdown, and Sea of Thieves. Those are games that may or may not turn out to be okay. Right now they're mediocre to me, and I don't want the platform to just go for the load of mediocrity. I want them to try to go for the gusto, try to hit it out the park. I want them to try to come out with big hits and big exclusives and big things. And if they try to lower their standard just to go the middle of the road, just to save costs, throw a bunch of cheap games out there every now and then, I think that's going to hurt them in the long run.
You made a good point, and this leads to my next question. Because I'm on the topic, why is it that in general, when one company has an issue or one thing doesn't work for one company, it's treated like an industry problem? Like, for example, if Microsoft can't sell, first part, single player games, then apparently single player games in general are just not successful. When clearly for other companies it is, like Sony. Sony's constantly, they just greenlighted another single player experience, Ghost of Tsushima, and that was only like 3-4 months ago, back in October.
Yeah.
So it's clear from Sony's perspective, these single player experiences is working. It is generating revenue. It's giving positive views of their platform, Yeah. So why is it that when one company has issues, everyone looks at it as the entire industry has an issue, when in reality it could just be that one company or that one publisher? Well, why do you think that is?
That's simple. That's because everybody wants to believe that they're the center of the universe. The Xbox community, it's like you all were talking about the toxicity of Shadow of Colossus. Really think about that. The people that were complaining, filing the complaints, were the Xbox guys. Well, why the hell do you care? Because you don't have access to it, and that's why they care. If Shadow Colossus, just imagine if Sony had a 6-month, they only had it for 6 months. The people in the Xbox community wouldn't care. So to your question on why they think, well, it's not working for us, therefore it won't work for them either. It's because they want to be the center of attention. Again, that's all that it is. You're right. A game that may not work on Xbox may work great on the Sony platform. If Recore were on the PlayStation, it would do better. It just would.
I don't know about that
one. But overall, they'll say, well, we don't play those games. So, and it's unfortunate, but it's just the people that are filing that complaint, they think, well, everybody plays the same way I do. You know what I'm saying? What I do is differently than what you may play and what J-Dub may play and what All Day may play. The Xbox community that's a hive mind. Literally, They all play the same stuff. Gears, Halo, Forza. That's what they play. So.
Now let me ask you guys this: if Sony, let's say next year, announced their own version of Game Pass, and they said $10 a month, you have access to their first party and third party games, whatever deals they could do, $10 a month, and all their first party games will also release day one. Will you guys be for that, or are you guys sticking with the physical, or however you guys doing it? How would you guys react to that?
I still have the same concerns that I do for Xbox. I mean,
that wouldn't change. Yeah, that wouldn't change. You still worry, right? You still worry. Well, what happens when not only do your servers go down, but what happens to my games when you decide to erase them off the servers and get rid of them? That potentially can be a huge problem.
You would be downloading them though.
You'll be downloading. It's not streaming. You'll be downloading.
Yeah, I get that, right? But I download them, right? Then let's say my PS4 dies a year later. Let's say I go to the store and it's not there anymore. I can't re-download it because it's off the store.
Right.
Yeah. Like you have it, but then if your hard drive dies, then it's a wrap.
Yeah.
I believe it works.
They did that with PT. You guys remember that demo, that PT demo with Kojima? Yeah. They did that, and they came out and said, "Hey, this is the last day you'll be able to download this, so download it while you can. And now people have their PlayStations on eBay with that demo on there.
What are you gonna say, Silver?
They do, yeah, with the PT demo.
No, he's right. I believe it works the same way that PS Plus does. So like when your prescription runs out, you're out. You lose that game. You lose access to that game. So I guess essentially, if they drop that server, you're shit out of luck.
Now I know. Here's the thing. I hope gamers understand this. This past Sunday, I was on the Gamers Couch podcast along with Craig and J Dub, and we were talking a similar conversation. And the whole thing was, how do you defeat the used game market so that way developers and publishers don't lose out on this money? Now, again, I don't defend GameStop and their practices and all that stuff. I know used game market is $1 billion business. So, of course, if even a fraction of that money could go back to the developers and to the publishers, that's more money they get, and that's more potential games we could get, right? My only issue with implementing a system that ensures developers and publishers get some of the money to these used game market is that system will impact the consumer more than the store. Because if I do a private transaction, right? Because in reality, even with GameStop, it's still kind of a private transaction. It's the owner of the disc walking to a store and making an agreement based on what that store is doing. Like, if you don't like what GameStop is doing, then just walk out the store and sell it yourself, whatever. It's still a consumer practice, right? If there's a system in place that ensures every used game that is sold, or, interacted or transacted, and the developers, publishers get a cut of it, that means this system that's in place pretty much nullifies ownership of that disc. You really don't own it, because the moment you try to get rid of it, the developer gets a cut. So you never really own the product. And the reason why I bring this up, there's no other merchandise that you really do this for. Like if I sell this TV that's in front of me, Vizio doesn't get a cut. If I sell this laptop I got from Dell doesn't get a cut. If I sell my Nissan Maxima to somebody, Nissan doesn't get a cut, So how can we be able to help developers get the money that they rate or earn, while at the same time we still protect our rights as a consumer and property ownership?
That gets challenging. They already tried that last generation. Remember whenever you used to have to pay $10 to $20 to have the online pass?
Yeah. Yep. Anytime you bought a used copy of Madden, you had to, in order to play it online, you had to spend like what, $10-15.
Yeah, Project $10, they called it.
Yep, and that shit failed miserably. So where they made up for it was in DLC and microtransactions and everything else that everybody else bitches about. It's never a win-win for the consumer and the publisher. It's give or take.
I'm gonna tell you, and this statement's probably gonna get Jay Fonzarelli to join in. All right, I'll be honest. I really don't care about DLC and microtransactions. I honestly don't, because I'm not forced to buy them. You know what I'm saying? Here's the truth. The consumers like it. Like EA in their investors call, they reported that Battlefront 2, they were short by 1 million. I think they expected X amount and they were short by 1 million, right? So they didn't reach their sales target for the end of the year. But they were surprised at how well their in-game microtransaction currency, it actually exceeded what they thought they were going to do. So even with less sales, so think about it, with 1 million less sales, they still made more than what they were expecting. The consumers the gamers are voting with their wallets at the end of the day. We could go on YouTube and Twitter all day, but at the end of the day, it's that Visa check card that tells these companies.
Star Wars, Porter Rock, not to interrupt you, that's a different group of people. Okay, they're just going to play that game. They're not really playing nothing else. But I get what you're saying. It underperformed, but it overperformed with the money. I agree with that. Yeah.
But don't people go ahead.
I like the way it is now, and the reason why I say that is because a lot of these publishers and developers are implementing like the GTA 5 system, which is we get all the content free, but then you can go buy the shark cards if you want to kind of accelerate your progress. I think that we're in a really good spot right now because I don't like buying season passes, all that shit. I don't do it. So the fact that I'm getting all the content for free, I can still play with everybody as the DLC comes out. And I just choose not to go as fast as them. You know what I mean? As far as progression, to me, that's the best route. because some of us can't, we're not good enough to keep up with our buddies that are progressing through the stages, or sometimes we don't have enough time, right? So it's a way for us to all stay on the same level playing field. To me, where it's at right now with a lot of these games, not all of them are doing it, but for the most part they are, that is the best solution, in my opinion. But, I mean, I guess that's neither here or there.
Look, as a consumer, I could care less. I mean, I care for developers, right? I do. I really do. I sympathize with them. But I don't care because I'm like this. If you make a good game, I will buy it. I will spend $60, $65. Hell, I'll be willing to spend $70, $80, depending on how good the game is. Make good games, and your games are going to sell fantastic numbers. It is what it is. You look at a game like Grand Theft Auto, has sold almost 100 million copies. It's a good game. Even without the DLC and anything else, it was a really great game. It reviewed well. Everyone loved it. Okay, that's the bottom line. You make a good game, it will sell. Look at Uncharted, another game sold what 9-10 million copies. It sold well. Look at PUBG, sold well. Make good games and people will buy them. You don't have to go by and figure out how to do this and how to do that. But you keep flooding the market with mediocre games, expecting $60, $65 for them. Yes, you're going to struggle because nobody's going to buy that crap, and that's just the bottom line. Am I willing to pay more? Every generation, or at least in the past, we had generations where the price would go up, whether by $5 or $10. I remember back in the Sega Genesis and SNES days, games back then, the high end games were like what, $40, $39.99 was like a high end price. And then the price went up to $49, and then the next one, $59 with the PS3 and Xbox 360 era. Okay, we got another generation now. Next generation, bump it up another $5-10. But do it that way, and I'd rather you do it that way than try to find different ways to destroy gaming. Because at the end of the day, I think ultimately this thing can be a huge failure, and then we're stuck as the gamers. We're stuck with this big mess. So yeah, I applaud Microsoft for attempting to go that way, but I want them to be the test dummies. I don't want Sony or Nintendo to go that route.
I agree with you like 70%. Here's my thing. So a good game is a very opinionated statement because there's a lot of people that says Gravity Rush 2 is a good game and it didn't sell. That's where the fine line is at. I think the problem is we have games that are mega blockbusters. Mm-hmm. And people are so focused on these mega blockbusters, a lot of people ain't willing to dive into new experiences because they want to stick with the big popular games that they always know. It's a safe bet to buy the next Battlefield. It's a safe bet to buy the next Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto. It's a safe bet to buy a Mass Effect or Resident Evil. It's a safe bet to buy Call of Duty and NBA 2K16. But then when a developer creates a new title, I would say the hardcore will definitely look into it, but will the casuals or the people that are in between, in the middle of the hardcore and the casuals, will they dive in, or they be like, it looks interesting, but I'll just get Battlefield because I know everybody plays it. I already know what I'm gonna get with Battlefield. You know what I'm saying? Is there any concerns with these mega blockbuster games preventing people from diving into new experiences, which in turns make things harder for developers? Because in reality, that's what you're doing. Like, let's take Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. You would be insane to release a new IP in October. You would be an idiot. Yeah. I don't care who you are. Like, I wouldn't even.
Naughty Dog did it.
Who?
Naughty Dog put The Last of Us out with GTA 5.
Was it in June? Yeah. They both came out in June 2013.
It was right next to each other.
But The Last of Us is a epic game that can go toe to toe.
They didn't know that though.
They didn't know that was a new IP. That's balls. I didn't even realize that. That's fucking balls.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog has balls. Like right now, like Cyberpunk. Let's say if Cyberpunk was ready this year, and they'd be like, "We're gonna release in October." Oh yeah. As soon as Rockstar said, "Hey, we're releasing Red Dead Redemption," I'll be like, "Yeah, we're gonna change our mind and we're gonna release it in September."
I wouldn't say that. I think Cyberpunk's gonna do better numbers than Red Dead, or has a chance to.
It's probably gonna be better in gameplay, but in terms of sales and people focusing on what game to get,
it might.
Red Dead's gonna swallow all.
I don't know, man. It might, dude. That Cyberpunk community is huge.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, right? I don't think there's going to be many people that walk in the store and have to make that decision. Oh, which one should I buy? There's just going to be people that pick them up both, or there's just going to be the guys that don't know what Cyberpunk is, or there's going to be the guys who are like, hey, I'm just going for Red Dead, and it is what it is. I don't gaming as a whole now. That used to be the issue in the past, right? Like now, you would be crazy to release another shooter in the same month as Call of Duty, yes, but that's another shooter. But you can release other games. Nobody's going to go and say, what about this The Last of Us 2 or Call of Duty or COD? You know, it's nobody ever makes that decision. It's easy. You're going to go with The Last of Us and COD. So I think
listen, we don't have your money, all right? Let's stop
That's
that.
what I was
right?
thinking.
We ain't got your money. Right? You're confusing what you could do and what the rest of the world can do, right? Look at perfect example. Perfect example. Tomb Raider got thrashed when it launched on Xbox One the same day Fallout 4 came out. Like the same day. People didn't even realize Tomb Raider was out.
But what if Tomb Raider comes out 2 weeks later? Do you think it does better?
Maybe probably. It's definitely. I mean, technically, compared to the same day, yeah. I mean, some people didn't even realize Tomb Raider was out.
All right, in May, not in May. I'm sorry, in April, MLB The Show comes out. I think the same day that Far Cry comes out. Those are two different kinds of people buying now. J-Dub's right. A lot of people are going to go in and get both, but I would say most are going to split the difference and just say, well, I'll get this and I'll come back.
I would say in that case, because MLB's a known franchise, so everybody gets it's like Madden. You know, you have your favorite too. Yeah, favorite. I'm talking about like a new IP, like you create a new IP and then you put it next to a well-known super big franchise.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, most people, other than the hardcore who are into new experiences and stuff, but the average gaming consumer, they're gonna play it safe. They're gonna put their $60 towards what they know is safe. You know, so that's why I said like Cyberpunk or whatchamacallit, Red Dead Redemption.
Spider-Man might be able to do it.
Spider-Man, yeah, they might do it, but I don't think Sony's gonna even try that because Sony has marketing rights.
You're right.
But then
you're right. Show earlier.
Spider-Man might, Spider-Man could contend that. But I want to say like Cyberpunk, I think only like the hardcore Witcher fans will choose Cyberpunk over Red Dead. The majority of everybody else, they're getting Red Dead. That game's gonna sell fucking like ridiculous.
Well, PC folks can't get Red Dead anyway. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Also, so it's easy for them. Cyberpunk, which is weird because Grand Theft Auto's on PC. Like Rockstar's weird with games. Like some games they just keep off PC
because they don't like PC. They're very open about that. They don't like PC.
Do the games get pirated a lot or something?
There's a lot of that's
a lot of that.
I don't know. But I remember them talking about they did a whole thing about a whole write up about it. They don't like PC.
That's incredible.
I think it's more about the mods. I think it's more about the mods than anything.
Oh, because it could interrupt what they're doing because they want to provide the extra content, but if PC gamers are creating it for free,
I think it was more about from a publicity standpoint. So like if you have Marvel characters that are modded into the game, now that they've generated so much revenue off that title. Marvel can come soon.
Oh,
I think that's what it's about more than
so they put in more work trying to prevent this shit,
right?
Which is kind of
so it's wrong, but
but that makes sense because it's kind of productive. Like if you see Batman or the Flash running around,
right?
They have to create a patch to get rid of it because if not, DC's gonna be like, "Hey, you made $100 million this month? Yeah, you made it because of the Flash." So
right, exactly.
You either give us some money or we're gonna sue you.
Right.
That's yeah.
I don't think that applies to Fallout 4, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was about.
Well, I think Fallout 4 because it's not on a server, like Grand Theft Auto is, right? There's no
Well, no, because the mods only work on the offline. I don't think it works on online.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like for you're talking about like the GTA mods
on GTA. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't really read into PC stuff that much.
Yeah. I got another super chat. My man Daniel J. He says Record would have done good on PlayStation because it is a platformer and we like platformers. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I don't think this game would have done good on PlayStation either because of the gameplay. Like it's auto targeting, which I haven't done that since like PlayStation 1. Mm-hmm. The platforming's not really in depth. I'm not trying to insult the game. I'm just telling you from my perspective. It's auto shooting. the platforming is really has no depth. So it's not like, it's something that's gonna be challenging. And like the character and story wasn't memorable. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's nothing there. Like if it had a really good memorable story, I would play the game over. But like I really didn't care about what was going on. It was a decent game, and as long as I was able to flow through it, I would have kept flowing through it. But ever since I ran into that glitch where this door won't open just for whatever reason, I have no interest to finish the game. I have no interest seeing the story through. Yeah. So I don't think we would have, especially on our platform where we have a lot of games with great story. I don't think most PlayStation gamers will look at this game and be like, this game has nothing. It has nothing really what we want.
I heard that Knack curb stomps that game. I don't know though.
Oh, I don't know. Hey, Knack is free. Look at that. We won the console war for like 2 years. When is Knack gonna be free? We got it. Yeah. I'm gonna try it now that it's free. I don't know. Okay. So let's see. What's the next topic? Where we at? Okay, so this is for you guys with the big wheel, PS4 Pro. So super sampling. So PlayStation, Sony finally. I still don't know what that is. So Sony finally implemented, I guess, at the hardware level. So now, all games are automatically super sampled.
Yes, that speaks to me with my broke ass. I got a 1080p monitor. Let's go. Bring it.
Do you have a Pro, Silver?
Yes, sir. Yes.
How you liking your Pro?
Does
it do a little bit more?
It's hard. It's hard to say because it's hard to compare it, right? Because all I have is 1080p. I got the Pro because I got rid of the Xbox because of Quantum Break and the original PS4. So I traded those in together.
So the games. That's the game I'm gonna play that game next, Quantum Break. Is it that bad that it made you get rid of your console?
Don't watch my video called Animation Break. I'll just say that. Go into it, enjoy it. Don't watch my video because it'll make you hate it. But yeah.
So the game was so bad.
I'm gonna play the game first, then I'm gonna watch your video,
dude. But so for me, like the benefit to the Pro really shines in the VR. That I know. So in that regard, it's 100% worth it. As far as having a 1080p TV and having a Pro, outside of getting like Shadow of the Colossus in 60 frames, that's awesome. Some of the games that allow you to choose performance mode, it's great, but does it warrant an extra $100 some odd? That's up to the buyer, right? I mean, I don't know, but with 4K TV, I imagine it's phenomenal. But I don't have that, so.
And Kratos can maybe chime in. So from what I hear this from the Xbox community, and I don't hear much about it from the PlayStation, but from what I hear, the actual biggest jump with these new consoles is actually the implementation of HDR. That's actually the game changer. Yeah. Is that a true statement? Is that HDR that good?
Yes, it can be, but here's the thing, right? So it depends game to game. The definitive version of HDR implemented in the game is Horizon Zero Dawn and GT Sport.
Facts.
So I mean, and that's not just me fanboying. That's just Digital Foundry saying these two are the flagship games for HDR. It's done right by the developer. It's done right by the hardware. It is what it is. Not all HDR is the same.
Damn. At Mass Effect Andromeda, that's a good HDR as well. If you got if you got to go in and set it up, but yeah, that's good too. That my screenshots that I'm taking and posting, those are with HDR turned on. That's why I'm always trying to get the sun, because you want the sun reflections. You can kind of see the differences. But yeah, the HDR this generation has been it's real good on Gears of War. On the Xbox, it's real good. So,
hey, Kratos, can I have your HDR 4K TV in your bathroom?
Oh man!
Help the man out with his HDR goodness.
I thought I'd ask.
He probably has one like in a spare shed or something.
Dude,
you walk in Kratos' dirty shed, and all of a sudden this bright, beautiful 4K display. You're like, what the fuck?
God tier level. Jesus.
So what? Let me ask this. So with HDR, right? Mm-hmm. Why why are we having this disparity in quality of HDR between like is HDR10 is HDR10, right? Why is it a disparity between these games that are coming out?
Well, and again, it's not generally the hardware; it's the developer, right? They're trying to deliver a game to you in a certain amount of time, and they don't. And when they finish their game, they want to release it. They don't have time to go and tweak the brightnesses because they know the bulk of the people have shitty TVs and are probably not going to take advantage of it anyway. And unfortunately, that's been the case. But here's the thing, right? Sony specializes in electronics. They specialize in TVs, so they want their games to shine the very possible way that it fits on their TVs. That's why when they show you off the games, it's running on their hardware. All the way from the TV, all the way to the Pro, to their cables, to everything.
Their surround sound, their audio video receivers.
So they can
curate. Hey, Silver, Kratos' comment of shitty TVs. You think that's a shot at you and me? It sounds like a shot at you and me.
For sure.
I think he's
OLED or go home.
He's talking. He's talking to his plebs here. Leave my TV alone, right?
I've been hating Kratos. I've been telling him.
So here's the thing, guys. A developer that delivers HDR properly, you don't have to set up. You don't have to change any settings in the game. You start the game, your TV will switch over to HDR, and you just start playing. You don't have to tinker with the settings and see if this is the brighter. I mean, it's just done right because that's the way the developer want you to play the game.
Horizon is like that.
Yeah,
I had to change. I have a Samsung TV, so I had to. My only thing was, when you go in and to the settings, and you can have warm 1, warm 2, cool. And that's where I was stuck. I'm like, all right, but the HDR build was so good that especially the nighttime shadows, and that game is so detailed that in the daytime, the mountainous rocks. You can tell the differences in the levels, be darker at one point. Then there's a separation line. It was that kind of level of detail. For Monster Hunter,
it sucks for Monster Hunter. It's not done right at all.
Yeah, I've got mine turned off. So because it was too much adjustment into the gamma, into the brightness, into the sharpness, I was just constantly adjusting. I'm like, well, it ain't worth it. So and Digital Foundry,
a lot of people,
their credit said it was trash.
A lot of people don't know what HDR does. I did some homework on it, but I don't want to see it in real life because if I see it in real life, it'll make me weep. So I don't go look at it. But I looked up what it does. But from what I can understand, if you in the shadows in real life, you can still see color with there being shade there. With HDR on or with normal game, you'll lose some of that color, right? Like if it's grass, like there's a shadow going over grass, you'll lose some of the green. But with HDR, you can still see the green, but there's still the shadow over it.
Yeah.
Which is
and not just necessarily color, right? Because HDR, what HDR is, it's the difference between the blackest blacks and the whitest whites. Right. It tries to find that medium in between to give you where when you're walking in the dark, you're still able to see a lot of the detail and stuff in the shadows like you would in real life. It just wouldn't be either if you have an OLED, it would be inky black. Like, for example, Destiny 2. When that game first came out, I was playing it on the Pro. I enjoyed it. It looked beautiful, but on my OLED TV in the dark, when I went to a dark scene, I couldn't see shit. So I couldn't tell where I was going. I need HDR to brighten that up so I can see those shadows, so I can see the path to where to go. And they finally patched that and fixed it. But that's some of the stuff that you're gonna have to deal with. It's basically the difference between the whitest whites and the blackest blacks. So it brings it to a crisp, clean medium. So all the other colors and the other effects that the game and your TV is displaying can be that much better. So your colors can be more accurate.
Okay.
Yeah,
one question. Go ahead, Craig.
No, I was gonna say just real quick. It looks. It depends on your game. J-Dub is right. The perfect marriage of that is GT Sport and Horizon Zero Dawn. And then on the Xbox, it's the Gears game. When they updated it for the X and all that stuff, it marries perfectly. So I had to go in and do the Gears a little bit, just to kind of I went from warm 1 to warm 2. So that gave me a sense of softness. But that's going into way too far detail. It's just sometimes you can get a harder look or a softer look, and with Gears, because the way Gears is, the way it is with all your reds and your greens and stuff like that, you want that. The HDR really brings that out on the X, for that deal. So
I'm just going to say that if somebody out there uses Cool 1 or Cool 2, I can't trust you as a person.
Okay. All right. Hey, so Silver, you messed up. You mentioned something, and I don't think I ever talked about it in the podcast, even with Jay. So you clearly see the difference. It sounded like you noticed a huge difference using VR with the Pro compared to, I guess, the vanilla. Can you talk about that a bit?
My uncle has a Slim in his bedroom and a Pro in his living room, and so when you transfer them back and forth, the VR, it's night and day. So are you familiar with what screen door effect is?
No.
Screen door effect is because the screen is so close to your eyes, you're seeing in between the pixels.
It looks like you're looking out of a screen door.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's the most irritating.
All right, makes sense. You see the little boxes.
Yeah. So that shit irritates the fuck out of me. But with the Pro, it seems to mitigate that a little bit. For some reason, I'm not sure why. The frame rate is much smoother, and across all games, all the loading's faster. The fidelity of the entire experience is just smoother. It's so in that regard, if you're a VR owner and you don't have a Pro, you're hurting yourself right now. Straight up, it's a pretty big difference.
Oh wow, that's okay. Jesus Christ! All right, well, looks like I have to get a Pro now if I'm going to get a VR. Shit.
Hey, I mean, look, you deserve it. Hey, look, hit up Uncle Sam. Say, look here. You know what I mean? You're making me go over to Germany. This is some bullshit. Have you seen the food over there? Y'all owe me a Pro. This is bullshit.
Because it does a little bit.
All right, that's crazy. All right, so have you guys recently been reading up on quantic dreams debacle?
Yeah,
All right, so they recently released a statement. I'm gonna read it right now. They said since January 14, 2018, Quantum Drink has been the subject of a veritable campaign of denigration on the part of some media based on slanderous statements, of which the reliability and origins of the sources raise questions. We reiterate that to date, we have not heard of any complaints of harassment and discrimination. We confirm that 2 employees who lodged an appeal with the tribunal there, whatever this French word is, in 2017 were dismissed by a judgment thrown out on January 19, 2018, and that a 3rd person in this case is in a division still to be decided. Several other legal actions are also on the way to defend the reputation of our studio and safeguard the employees of a French SME in Point, who is a leader in its field. We are confident in the justice and wish that it can produce and proceed quickly in a calm and peaceful atmosphere. So this environment, do you think, or I'm kind of glad that Quantum Drink is on the offensive.
Yeah,
they're out there. They're telling people this is not true. We're taking it to court. You know what I'm saying? They're out there, because Quantum, I enjoy their games. I love their games. I love what they do. I love the content of that, right? But I will say this. I don't support companies that are proven, obviously been proven to have toxic environments that discriminate against people, harassment, all that stuff. How do you guys feel about that? You guys really don't care what happens in the background of a company as long as you just get the product that you want? Or do you concern about the reputation of the company in terms of how they treat their people and ethics and morals? What are your guys' views on this?
I care. I care. I think, though, like you said, I'm glad those guys are going on the offensive. Here's the thing. It only takes one person to say something negative about a company, right? And then with social media, it picks up steam and it becomes true in the court of public opinion. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, that's why I said proven. You have to prove it. Proven. Like, I don't go with hearsay or a tweet. Like, that's not enough for me.
But you also have to consider, right, due to the times we're in and everyone arguing politically and everything else, the type of game that they're trying to release, right? Isn't it coincidental that this stuff is starting to come out now. Out of all these years, these guys have been working on this game. Now, right before the launch of the game, people were trying to damage the studio and the credibility, and get different people to rally behind it. It's just awkward timing. And so, again, go. I'm glad. Go and sue those bastards if they're wrong. If you're wrong, then you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay. So, hopefully, whoever made these rumors or these accusations are false. But if they're true, I think the studio should cough up and confess.
Well,
and
what they're calling him out for, it seems like just banter back and forth and joking around with Photoshop. Like, why are you getting butthurt over a dick farting? grow the fuck up. Quit being a bitch. Get out of the industry. Fuck you. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not. This whole PC bullshit, it gets on my last nerve. That is fuck. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Generally, guys, it's a disgruntled ex-employee that no longer works there, or someone who works there and they're mad at their boss or something, and they're trying to pay the company back, and they'll go and make up these claims. It's happened before. It's not the first time it's happened. Now, here's the thing: we don't know if it's true or false, so I'm going to reserve judgment for whatever comes out of this. But it's easy for you to point fingers at somebody now because it's again. I still think it's of timing. It's just of timing.
They're attaching themselves to everything. Everything is a problem. Everything is. It's fucking ridiculous. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should sue. I'm glad Nelly is suing his accuser.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's like that football player Ezekiel Elliott's going to sue his accuser. And I agree with you, Porter Rock. If a company, I think we are all in the same boat. If you've been proven guilty, then it's I mean you need to go on somewhere. But if it's a shakedown. And I was listening to a shock jock. I won't say the name of the shock jock. And he was saying he's talked to people out in Hollywood and said it's a big shakedown. People just trying to get money because, they feel like things are not going their way. And from people trying to ruin movies. People trying to ruin movies and stuff like that. Just it's BS all the way around. And the stuff that Quantum Break's Dream, the game, their game is coming out. That's dealing with a lot of adult themes, and abuse is one of them. Yeah.
I'll challenge everybody on the panel real quick. So I agree with everybody that we care about the employees and what's going on, how they're being treated. But I'm a realist. And do y'all remember that rumor that went around about Naughty Dog? You best believe I'm still buying The Last of Us 2. Fuck off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So to a certain degree, we can all agree. Like, we'll not buy that game. Oh, wait, what? Who's got a problem? I'm still buying that game. You know what I mean? Like,
you're right. Me not buying that game is not going to change anything. I'd rather enjoy it and weep than to not enjoy it and sit there and be mad. So
plus, there's a lot more people involved, right? So why make everybody suffer in that studio just because two assholes at the top are fucking things up? Like that's also not fair to the rest of the team. So that's another way. That's how I justify it in my head, anyway.
Yeah. If if you don't like your job, you don't like what's going on at your job, there's a billion other jobs out there. Go find you another one. Don't accept what they're giving you, or what they're putting you through, and that's just kind of has to be the case. You're not going to change the whole culture of the company. You're just not. You're just one person. It's just not going to happen.
So, are y'all hiring? What's up?
Here's an article, and I'm going to read. Speaking on Detroit, shout out to Joseph, the Blu-ray King, who just pushed this out. And I think this article is reaching. This is a huge reach. But it says right here, yesterday, Quantic Dream had a statement on what they think is a smear campaign by media outlets after a lot of allegations were made by a former employee about the studio. Today, more trouble comes as Paris Council issued a hard-hitting document titled On the Toxic Corporate Culture of Quantic Dream. During February 5th, 6th, and 7th, under the proposal of somebody in their government left party, the council chastised the dreadful photo montages that circulated within the company, and if that wasn't enough, the council moved on to company questionable termination procedures. The council is now asking Quantic Dream about the amount of money it has received in public funding. This will work as a reimbursement clause that if the company fails to respect certain work conditions, they may have to pay the funding back, which could mean Detroit Become Human may never see the light of day. Now, that's where I think the article reached, because the game's being paid by Sony, not by public funding. Sony's paying for this project to be made for their console. So they're the publishers. They're paying the developers to make this game. So even let's say Quantum Dream does have an issue with public funding. I mean, I have no idea what's going on with that in terms of public funding. But, like, this article is already stirring the pot with Detroit might being canceled, and that's going to give a false impression to gamers and stuff. So what do you think about that?
I don't think they're a first-party studio.
No, they're not. No, they're not a first party. They're more like a second party, but Sony has a close relationship with them. So, like, Beyond Two Souls was paid for by Sony. Heavy Rain, they paid for that. And they're paying for this one also. So this second party relationship. I think there's a group of.
I'll go ahead. I'm sorry, Paul Rock.
Go ahead. No, chime in, brother.
I was going to say, I think there's a group of people out there who don't want this game out. Period. They don't want the game out. Yep. You know, and that just for whatever reason. I think it's because of it's dealing with a lot of it's dealing with some weird subjects. I mean, some adult subject matter. That trailer that they showed, I don't know if it was at not PSX, was that the Paris Game Week? That trailer, that was hard to watch. Yeah. You know, about what the situation that you could get yourself into. So, and that's that was tough. So then they had the other one that came out about the guy going upstairs to abuse his kid. Yeah, that was hard. I mean, it's hard to watch that. So I just think there's forces who don't want that game out, and this is their way of sabotaging.
Let me ask you this: wow, and this is just for the whole panel. Why is it so hard for us to watch a video game showing domestic violence and stuff like that? But it's okay for us to watch a movie that has the same thing. You know what I'm saying? For decades, we've been watching movies of guys abusing, women abusing, just all kind of stuff back and forth, and we don't blink an eye. But a video.
What was that movie? Gone Baby Gone.
Baby Gone.
Yeah, that pedophile. Great movie, but it was like
Kill Bill. I mean, just all kind of movies, right? That we watch. And
it's the easy answer. I made a video about it actually. It's kind of why I love gaming so much. And when I make videos like this, nobody watches them. But whatever.
Give me the link. I'll spread the gospel.
No, we're good. But what it is that when you're watching film or you're watching TV shows, which I equally love. Well, I should say equally, but either way, when they portray emotion in game or in films and stuff, right? You are a witness to a story being told. When you're playing a game, even a Walking Dead, right, where it's strictly, there's really no gameplay. You're just selecting things. You're still a participant within that story, and so you're going to feel you're going to be more emotional towards the story or the narrative that's being pushed in front of you because you're a participant, not a witness. Right. So, like, if you think about the film called Sophie's Choice, I don't know if y'all have ever seen it, but that's a really, really hard film to watch. And basically, a mom has to decide which one of her children has to be murdered by the Nazis. Right. And that film is supposed to be really sad, and it's critically acclaimed for this this quote unquote choice. Right. And now you pick that same story in a game, but now you're a participant and you're playing as a mom. That's way harder on you to play out as opposed to just watching it. So I think that's part of it because people feel they get in their feelings more playing a game.
It's funny,
or it's easier to target.
This scenario. You brought up a great point because this scenario. This isn't the first time. Exactly what you're talking about, Silver. This happened already. You remember when Medal of Honor was gonna name the bad guys actual Taliban? They were actually gonna name them after the Taliban. And that became a huge deal. Like the mothers of the Gold Star, bunch of bases. Like I remember here in Camp Lejeune, they weren't going to sell the game. Like it became a huge thing, and people are like, we already got movies talking about the Taliban and all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And there was another game Konami was going to make. It was going to be called 7 Days in Fallujah, right? That was something like that, and it was going to be about what Marines did in Fallujah. For what was that? No, people were not trying to hear that. They're like, you're not going to make a game. Mothers are like, my son died in there. You're not going to do this. But yet there's movies that already had the story of Fallujah being told.
Battle for Fallujah is fucking great.
Yeah, another one, Operation Wonder Wheel. You know, there was a lot of movies and things that already talked about this. But people were not trying to have it when it came to the game perspective. And I think it's because of what you're saying. The actual participation of the game makes it a bit more real, a little bit more.
It's also the name of it, though, right? So it's named game. So in their eyes, it's glorifying it. But if they actually took a moment to do a little homework and you watch all the videos like Dreamcast Guy, where he talks about, his past and how he thinks the new game, Detroit Become Human, is going to help shed light. Look at Hellblade. That was being criticized for making a mockery of that community that suffers with psychosis. In reality, all it did was help those very people explain and show their family members what they go through. Yeah. So it was a powerful tool. Now that's the problem, is because it's known as a game, that word in itself makes everybody think on the outside that's not involved that it's a negative, it's glorifying. In reality, it does way more than what a film could ever do. And so that's, why do you think soldiers that have PTSD, there's these organizations all over the nation that help them relive whatever battle they were in that they got hurt or had issues with in VR to help them cope with it. I mean, there's truth to, the participant thing, which is what I was talking about. And it's just ignorant fucking people out there that just don't do their homework. They're fucking idiots.
And it's just for some reason, exactly. Like for some reason, gaming gets constantly attacked. And it's another art form. It's another medium of entertainment. And like you said, it's like perfect, like what you just mentioned with Hellblade. It is true. Like hearing those voices all the time made me think, imagine living your life like that, where you hear these voices all the time and they're just fucking with you. Like you're gonna go nuts. Like you're gonna be weird, And that I can now empathize and sympathize for people with mental illness like that. Because like I'm only playing a game, but I could turn it off and stop. They can't.
Like think about the well, we call them cluckers over here, but like think about the homeless people that are walking around talking to themselves, like fighting at nobody. Yeah. Like before, like growing up, you're like, what the fuck? There's that crazy dude again. Let's go laugh at him. But then you play that, and you're like, damn, what's he going through? What kind of demons is he fighting? You know what I mean? Like you I mean, I was already like that as you grow up, but the fact still remains that Hellblade could actually touch somebody in high school that will prevent them from, lashing out and making fun of that person. You know what I mean? Like so. Anyway.
Yeah, people could but people could sympathize now. People could and it took gaming. Like you can't really get that from a movie. Like you watch a movie, you sit down, you see crazy people all the time. Like, he's acting no different than the guy, like you said, than the guy on the street that you see every day. But you don't really notice. But when you play a game and you get a gaming headset and you turn it on, and then after a while you start realizing, man, this game's tripping me out. I got to turn this off. But then you start thinking, wait a minute, but the people who actually go through this in real life, they can't turn it off.
Right.
They go to bed, they wake up, they eat, whatever they're doing, it's always there. It's just insane. And that's why I have like Hellblade will always have a special place for me in gaming. That game is just phenomenal and stuff like that. But so with Quantum Dream, all right, do you think it's because they're diving deep into certain topics such as, domestic abuse, that now there are politicians and politics? Because like Kratos said, we didn't hear anything, especially this didn't come up until after the whole domestic violent portion of Beyond Human, Detroit came out. Yeah. Now all this came out. So do you think it's a system to where they're trying to shut this game down or trying to make this game fail simply because they don't want these type of stories to be told, or they don't want the gaming market to be involved in these types of media or stories? Do you think it's like they're actually attacking it? Because it's true what you said. Yeah. We never heard shit about this until now.
I think it's the narrative, right? They don't want that to be outed anymore. It's like they want people to suffer in silence. They want the issue to go away and not be talked about. Yeah, we all know it happens, but nobody wants to have it in their face. You see what I'm saying? Nobody wants it in their face. And it's untimely that all of a sudden it's starting to come out now after the game has been in development for over 5 years. I mean, come on.
That's where I think it's more about them jumping on the bandwagon of what's going on in our culture with the PC community. But what it probably is a 1099 or a subcontractor. They were done with their portion of the job. They thought that they were going to get that full-time salary, and then they let him go once their project was done, and then they got mad. And then they jumped on that bandwagon. That's what I think happened.
That's just
All
right, so
that sounds right.
So content. Here's so on a separate topic now. So I want you guys to let me build a little picture. All right. So March we got MLB The Show, right?
Mm-hmm.
April we got God of War, April 20th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quantum reconfirmed that their game's coming out in the spring, right? So technically, all the way up until June 20th, that's technically the spring because summer starts June 21st. So that's anywhere between May and June, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you got Spider-Man, right? Mm-hmm. Which is not going to come out the same month as any of those titles. So
that's
now
August, September.
So that's like August, September, right? October we now know Red Dead Redemption, Call of Duty is November, right?
Yeah.
Battlefield.
Where does Days Gone fit in this big
look
like everything is getting
this
like
might be
now
the first
we got too many games now. Now we're getting too much shit.
This might be the first time we'll see Sony with a big AAA game in December.
Yep.
You think so? December? Woo.
Yep.
Listen, they told us, right? They told us not last month, but obviously, they told us in December that these games are coming out in 2018. They said that. Now, why would they say that in December if they plan on releasing it in 2019? This game is coming out. This game was told to us that these games are coming out. Now,
but it's not the first time Sony said certain games coming out and then they delayed it.
No. I get it.
That's
right?
That's what a delay means. Now that's actually a bona fide delay when you say the game's going to come out at this time period and it doesn't. To me, that is an official delay. That to me is what a delay is.
We're thinking about it. We're thinking about it because traditionally, right, we're known for getting 2 or 3 big, huge AAA games a year. Well, now the next lineup of games that they have coming are all big AAA hits. They have nothing else to fluff it down with. So these games have to come out. I think Sony's just going to make a run at it, and they're just going to say, "Hey, let's just drop these games sometime." A game, let's say like Detroit. Let's say it comes out in June. It may not be able to have 2 or 3 months to marinate on the market before the next thing come out.
I still think it's a zombie game. I think it's an October release, right around Halloween.
No,
I think second last week.
It's not gonna be able to survive.
It's not. I'll tell you this: it's not gonna come out during Red Dead Redemption. I'm telling you that right now. Sony's not gonna do because Sony has too much money invested in both IPs.
Mm-hmm. You did. Well, you were right with your scheduling. I just think that what's going to happen is Spider-Man's going to release during holidays, and Days Gone's going to be sooner than later.
You think it's going to be like a July title?
Yeah, I think I can't remember, but wherever you had Spider-Man, I think you swapped that with Days Gone. Spider-Man can go in the holidays and crush everybody, or end at least.
Yeah.
I will say this: Spider-Man. Like, if I were to choose, let's say, like, if we had 2 choices, let's say September and December are the last 2 months of big AAA for Sony, right?
Yeah.
I would say putting Days Gone in September and Spider-Man in December is the better arrangement. Spider-Man's gonna sell fucking wherever it's at.
Days Gone's a what if.
The name, Days Gone is the what if. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man, that shit's selling. And if you put that in a holiday, it's gonna fucking sell.
Yeah,
it's gonna sell. It's Spider-Man. It's gonna move console.
Yep.
So I could see that. I could see they put Days Gone in September, and then they put Spider-Man in December after the Call of Duty and all that. Because Spider-Man in December during a holiday, especially if they have like a Spider-Man bundle, a red box, a red console, controller, all that crazy shit, that shit's gonna fucking be like the #1 gift for Christmas. Yeah. Every kid's gonna want that Spider-Man game for Christmas. Every kid's gonna want that. It's gonna be like the biggest thing for them. So I could maybe see that. But that is crazy where we're having conversations where potentially there's too much games for the schedule. And then you also have the little games that you still want to fit in, like Hong Kong Massacre, whatever.
The PSVR games.
Yo, the PSVR games. Like the months are stacked, which is a good problem to have, to be honest.
Oh,
you know?
Great.
And then here's the big thing. We don't even know what Sony's going to do for E3.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
if they even announce 3 new IPs, we're gonna be like, okay, well, what the fuck now? Like, holy shit! Like, I mean, you're laughing, but think about it.
I'm gonna tell you this: E3 and PSX, they're gonna release games that they're gonna talk about games that are for the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, some of that stuff is gonna have to be pushed into next generation.
You think
so?
I think so, man. They just have too many.
We're gonna get on that at E3.
Last of Us 2 is gonna wrap up this generation for PlayStation.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this generation, right? It leaked over from last generation. They did a remaster or whatever at the early part of this one for the guys who weren't able to, do that. So it kind of makes sense.
Let me throw a curveball though. Let me throw a little curveball in that theory. Just a little curveball, right? The difference between last gen and this gen is that PS4 is fucking knocking it out the park. Like PS4 is about to outsell the PS3 in about a year. Yeah. It took PS3 like 7 years to sell 80 million consoles. Sony's doing it in about 4. So they're making this consoles. They're back to their PS2 grind right now. So they might be a little bit hesitant unless they see signs that things are slowing down dramatically. But they might be hesitant to really pull the trigger on next generation when the PS4 is just doing so fucking damn good. It's just doing so well.
They just need to listen to their audience. I mean, that's all that matters, right? Let us decide.
Yeah.
Via game sales and that sort of thing. But here's the other curveball. Kojima said that his game will be ready before 2019 recently.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Before?
Listen, I kept telling people.
But Ryzen ready, he'll launch it, or like it's developed, done.
It was an article that was just published. I want to say 2 weeks ago. He said that it's still on track to be out before in 2019. So that's going to throw everything.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
It might be.
Listen,
reviews. It was like shit. I thought it was a troll.
I don't know.
Yoshida said, "Look, Yoshida said, if you thought last year was something with games, you haven't seen anything yet."
I'm gonna tell you, if they're able to pull off Death Stranding and Days Gone this year, then fucking 2019 is gonna be like a letdown.
Dude, our share buttons are gonna break.
This is gonna be like the greatest gen in gaming ever.
2019 is gonna be the Last of Us year, period. You know what I mean? That's all you're gonna get. Ghost of Tsushima.
That's it. Last of Us. That's it.
That's it.
That's all you need. Shit. That's all you need.
Oh wow! I don't know. This is going to be interesting. E3 is going to be interesting. Now, let's talk about another topic. I'm doing ad hocs here. I'm seeing some podcasts, people talking about what Microsoft needs to do for 2018 to be successful. So I'm gonna ask the panel that same question, and I'm gonna ask, in Sony's perspective, what do they need to do to continue to be successful? All right. So we'll start off with Microsoft. We'll start over all day. What do you think, in order for Microsoft or Xbox 2018 to be a banger, what do you think they need to do?
Games! They need to show us, man. They need to show us what's coming. I know Phil's against it, but we need to see some hope. We need to see something. I mean, basing the 2018 off those 3 titles that's coming out, I mean, those are just little gems, bro. We need big boulders, you know what I mean? And they got to drop it, or at least tell us what's coming. You got to get people interested. Build that excitement. You just can't go out there showing us Ori 2. You know what I mean? It's a dope game, but I mean, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some Mech Assault. I want to see some Mech Assault, and I want to see some Mech. No, I'm just playing. No, but they really got to knock it out of the park with games, and I think they understand that. I think the feedback. I mean, Microsoft is a fucking meme. Everyone's clowning Microsoft, and they see it. They know it. They interact with the fans, so they know it. They're aware. They're aware. Yeah. So if they can deliver show us what's coming, because right now we know what's coming already. And if you're hoping for anything extra, I don't know. You might be a little disappointed. All right. They just got to bring the games, man. Period.
So, Messiah, what do you think?
Oh, I don't disagree. I think they're doing fine. I think shout out to Randall Thor. He did say that everybody who was in the Xbox community knew that they knew that 2017 was going to be tough. because Scalebound was canceled and Crackdown got, kind of shoved around. But ultimately, I think they're doing fine. I mean, you give us some information on State of Decay, the aforementioned Crackdown. They're bringing Fable. I guess, that's rising up. So to me, they're fine. I just think that the way they're doing things, they're not going to beat Sony. So don't worry about it. Just do your own thing. Yeah, just bring the games and the new IPs. I mean, I saw somebody in the chat. Shout out to the people in the chat. So they got 500 games, but they ain't got no bangers. And we're getting Forza. Yeah, give us the Ori and the Blind Forest. So that's right there, 6 or 7 games. Just got to give us release dates, like all day saying. Just give us something. Give us some hope. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Kratos, what about you?
All right. What do Microsoft have to do this year?
Yeah.
The consensus from everybody is going to be you're going to have to bring the games in. You're going to have to get out of that sense of mediocrity. I mean, right now you have your fan base hyping up anything they can get their hands on, just anything. It doesn't even they don't even have to buy it. They just they want something to be proud of, and right now they just don't have it. I think Sea of Thieves that was a push. I mean, you saw guys, hey, yes, it's so great. It's great.
Look at that water.
Yeah, the water. When water in your game is the hype of your is the peak of your game, guys aren't going to buy it. This is why I went to Gamepass. Literally, they're going to have to do that again. I do not want Microsoft to go down that path where they're just the low hanging fruit, because Nintendo is right on their asses, selling about a half of their install base in a matter of less than a year. That should be more worrying, right? That's worrying. Okay. Nintendo are coming out with all these games every week. A lot of indie titles, but they got some big bangers that they've already showed you that they're coming out with these little treehouse events, right? Why can't Microsoft do that? Microsoft does not have the ground to stand on to say, we're just going to sit here and wait and then we'll tell you what we have later. Every day that passes by is another customer going to the PlayStation and is another customer being ate up by Nintendo. If they can't see that, then they're already doomed. You see what I'm saying? Now, maybe some people in their fan base are just going to ride or die with them, whether they have any games or not. Those guys, I'm not talking about those guys, but I'm talking about the guys like us that own Xboxes. We spend $500 on these consoles. Give us something to play on it, and don't just tell me a prettier multi-plat. That doesn't sell me to buy it on that particular platform. And we just want games. Really, at the end of the day, games. That should be the only thing out their mouth. Games.
All right. So before I get to Silver, I want to say shout out to the chat. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that very much. Now, Silver, what's up with you? 2019 for Xbox.
So everybody kept saying games, which is true. But the problem with Microsoft is they don't allow creative freedom. So in order to have quality games, you got to allow your artists to do their art. And there's gonna be a lot of people in chat. Oh, what is he talking about? Okay, Destiny was supposed to be Halo 5. That's number one. Okay, then you had Gears and Epic left because they couldn't do what they wanted to do. Right, they left. You had the Scalebound fiasco. You had Fable. The list goes on and on. They are against creative freedom. That's number one. But for me personally, what they have to do in order to get me back on that fuckhead platform is, first of all, you're going to have to filter out the nonsense with your shitty ass fan base. A, B, they need to show me a Punisher game. That's it. That's all they can do. Outside of that, they can fuck off.
Living on a prayer.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you ain't getting an Xbox again. No, shit. Quantum Break must have been really bad.
No, it's not. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot. We'll talk offline.
Yeah, so I agree. I think like you said, like everyone says, general consensus is games, of course. But I like what Silver said. It's creativity. They can't come out with just derivative titles. All right, I would say for this E3, as big as the franchise is, it's gonna be cliche if the big, what have it moment, the big, megaton moment is Halo 6. That's not a megaton. I mean, it's huge for the Halo fans, but it's cliche. It's like
that's the already.
In fact, to be honest, that's kind of expected.
Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 4, right?
We're expecting, it's like MLB The Show. That's not a megaton at any point for us. We know what's coming. It's just there. We know that, right? But the big megaton is Microsoft's future investment in a new franchise that they consider is the big. This is the big title. That needs to be the megaton, not Halo 6. Halo 6 is fine for the Halo fans, and it's a big franchise, and it's fine to release it. No issues with that. But if they end off E3 with, the classic song, and then Halo 6, that's not surprising. That's not going to be, but that's cliche. It's the rabbit out of the hat.
Look. If it would be cool if they would just show some developer diary type videos of new studios they're acquiring. That would be dope, and show us little tidbits of what they're working on. That would even build the hope meter up. You know what I mean? Yeah,
they need to build hype for the platform, and the only way you build hype is by showing games. Even if the game won't come out for 2 years, you have to show, because we're watching, we're reading, we're talking about it. We're talking about discrimination in a game developer studio, for Christ's sake. We're going to want to know. I don't understand. I could maybe understand a casual that doesn't care and doesn't pay attention, but I don't understand a hardcore gamer that doesn't like him being told that this game is coming out in 2 years. Like, that's what you are. That's what you listen to. That's what you're paying attention to, Yeah. And then you see, like you said, developer commentary, a little tidbit, some screenshots here and there, and, you get the hype, you get the conversations going. But to be left in the dark, and the only thing you talk about is multiplats, to which, last week I said is community pussy. That's just shit that everybody's playing. It's not really.
You got basic bitch community pussy. What's going on here,
but that's really what I call multiplats. It's community pussy. Everybody enjoying it.
Right.
So you're not wifing it. You can't claim it because it's not yours. Yeah. Everybody's fucking it. It's not your thing.
Remember in 1999, right? We used to have a splendid of fucking Game Informers, the One Up magazine. I'm talking about tons of magazines, right? I remember back in the day being like 13 years old, reading about StarCraft Ghosts. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, we just knew that game looked dope. We knew it was coming, right? Never came, got canceled. But at least we were excited for it at a young age. I already knew what to look forward to. And that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, just show us something so we can get hype. Like, that stuff works. Building excitement works. Leaks work, bro. It works.
I think what they're going to do is they've had Horizon in their mouth a lot recently. Here's what I think they're going to do. They're in that rumor of Fable. They're going to come out and be like, look, here's a new Fable with real dinosaurs, and I'm going to fucking turn the TV off.
Oh, my
Watch.
No way.
It's going to be robotic chickens.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Look. I'm going to take that. Here's the thing. If they had games, if they had the big games that were coming, we would know about the studios already. Their stuff would have come out, but right now it's like people are begging for any little piece of information, and they just don't have it to give. I think the Sea of Thieves, the Crackdown, and the State of Decay is, and obviously the big title for them is going to be Forza Horizon 4. I think that's it for this year. People, you don't show up to E3 to find out what games are coming out this year. You know what I'm saying? You show up to E3 to find out what's coming in the future, the next year, and stuff like that. People going to E3 expecting this big laundry list of games to come out within a matter of months. You're kidding yourself. I mean, we were waiting till Comic-Con for games last year. Come on now.
Do you think that Game Pass will kind of bleed into quality assurance of these games? You think they'll become more lenient?
You know what's funny? Silver early in the show, I don't know if you dipped out, but he made a good point. He says there's potential that the games could be watered down. Because think about it. If you're only paying $10 a month, right? You're not paying $10 a month for one game. You're paying $10 a month for like a library of 700-800. Right. How much criticism on the quality of the game can you really say
for
if you're only paying $10?
That's all I've been saying that. Yeah.
What can you tell a developer like, yo, your game sucks, it doesn't do this? They're gonna be like, you only pay $10. Like, who is you? Like you like they could like Silver feels that, and I never thought about that, but it's a good concern that these program, this Game Pass thing could just be a whole bunch of derivative average games for $10, and we really have no room to complain because we're not paying the full $60. We're only paying $10 to play all of these titles.
So
you know?
for Metacritic, Sea of Thieves gets a 91 because it's $10, right?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like those cereal packings where like you get like 10 boxes of cereal for like $10, but like 8 of them suck. You only want to eat 2 of those. Well, you can't complain because you're not paying full price. You're just paying for derivative shit. You know,
I mean, Galahad looks real good at $10, doesn't he? You know
There's true. There's a lot of games out there that if it was just $10, you really can't complain. You know, like let's say there's a lot of I mean, we all play games that are bad that are definitely not worth $50, $60 or whatever. But if you put all these average ass games that are not notable, but you put them in a service, like hundreds of these games, and you say, hey, I mean, they're not great, they're not the best experiences, but guess what? They're only $10. So really, are you gonna bitch about having access to all these games when they're only $10?
I can just hear the fanboys now.
I mean, think about it. If I sold that to you, you'd be like, hey, Porter Rock, all your games suck, man. They're just average ass shit. I'd be like, bro, you're only paying $8. Like, what the fuck do you want for $8?
It's true.
Like, you'd be like, well, still they suck. It's $8. It's McDonald's. You just ordered a McDonald's meal. Why you want Peter Luger steak for $8? You're not gonna get that.
Is Forza Horizon 4 gonna be on Game Pass since it's second party?
They said
all first part. They said everything Microsoft publishes is going on there.
All right, well that's good.
So basically what's happening is Sony is a couple grams of hydro, and now Microsoft is just a dime bag of headache weed.
Microsoft said,
I ain't got nothing else.
Microsoft selling that Reggie. You know what I'm saying? You get what you get.
Fucking parsley.
Oh shit. I don't know. That's interesting. All right. But anyway, so it's almost 10 o'clock. So we've been at this for almost 2 hours. We're gonna do our little outros real quick. But before, we'll do our outros. We'll start out with All Day. What's going on?
What up? You guys can find me allday_digital. I'm always on the Twitter land. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right. The Messiah.
Hey, thanks for the vine, Porter Rock. Big shout out to SpaceX yesterday for destroying the flat Earth theories. There's just cut it out. After what you saw yesterday, it's over. But big shout out. Thanks for having me here. 60 frames, no lag. Check me out here in about an hour on Triple Cup Chuck talking about Black Panther here in about an hour. So,
so it's funny you bring that up. So I thought it was just like the most organized troll community the world has ever known. I honestly thought it was just trolling guys, like people who are just like they're very good trolling. So I'm like, man, these guys really got a good gig. No, some of those guys actually believe it. Like I met a flat earther. I actually met one. Like I thought he was trolling. I'm like, hey, he's talking about it. I'm like, yo, bro, I get it. You're trolling. That's pretty cool that you guys organized this troll to where the whole world thinks. And he's looking at me like I'm retarded. I'm like, wait a minute. And then now it's this awkward moment, like we're both looking at each other weird. Because I'm telling them, I get it. You guys are just awesome trolls. You guys created the most greatest troll community the world has ever known. And he's looking at me like I'm retarded. And I'm looking at him now like, wait a minute. It's not a troll?
Believe this?
Like this is real? He's like, yes, this is real. I'm like, no, seriously. Like, I know you're trolling. He's like, no, this is, and he's like talking to me, and I'm like, holy shit, you guys are serious. Jesus Christ. Are you fucking guys out of your mind? Like, no, this is supposed to be a troll. Like, yo, they really believe. I don't know why they believe in this, but yo, I thought it was like just the most organized troll ever. It's not. These dudes, there are actual flat earthers that truly believe the world is flat. And that is a government conspiracy. Like the government is going to spend billions of dollars to convince the world that it's round because that's what, like God forbid we tell the truth when it comes to simple shit. Like, hey, this is round, this is flat. No, apparently this is some conspiracy theory to convince the world that we're round so we could sell globes and shit. I guess it will impact like globe sales to high schools or something. I don't know.
Well, that launched everything. because when those rockets went up and then they reoriented themselves and on camera back down and they landed. It's like, all right.
So I asked the dude, all right, so how do you explain half the world like being in dark and half the world having light due to the rotation of the Earth around the sun? He's like, no. So he says the sun is actually like the flat Earth is like in a dome, and the sun is just shining a spotlight that goes back and forth between the regions of the flat Earth. I'm like, so it's like kind of like a flashlight. There you go, left and right. Is that what you're telling me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're cracked out, bro. Like you are really cracked out. Like, you know how close the sun has to be for that to happen? Like, you know how big the sun is? Like, we will burn if the sun was that close to be a spotlight. Like, it will probably burn. Like, nah, I'm done. Like, I'm please let me get my burger. I gotta go.
Away. There's people burning every day out.
Like, I don't know. It was just weird. Anyway, continue with the outros. J-Dub, the god of cardboard and toxicity.
It's been great again, guys. It's your boy J-Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation.
You know what you should do? You should get somebody to make you the Toxic Avenger avatar.
I know. No. See, I can't be the Toxic Avenger, right? Because there's guys already out there that are called the Toxic Avengers.
Already? Gotta do something.
They're the ones that point out other people being toxic. But
okay, so I don't know. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's why I say the Toxic Avengers, because they try to avenge the people that are toxic.
Or get like a Swamp Thing avatar or something.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Yeah. All right, and today we had our first appearance, Silver Sky. Appreciate you coming.
Tversky.
Tversky. Man, I talk about an abortion I did on that one, bro. Man, I really fucked that one up. Oh man,
that was epic.
It was like, and it was just so simple. Like, but you know, sometimes it's just things that are too simple. I'm like, nah, it can't be this simple.
Right.
Like, his name is Tversky 505, and it sounded cool. It sounded like a secret agent. Tversky 505. Like, yeah, that's his name.
I went with the feminine side. So,
but anyway, do your outro, brother.
I don't have a cool outro, but I'm known for cover popping, head cropping. I'm the #1 ducked dude on The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, and y'all all know who you are out there. Even the bigger podcasts, all of you ducked me. You're a bunch of bitches.
Okay, there you go. So, Silver Sky is coming after you. But yeah, so I'm gonna post when I get your link, I'm gonna put it on the video. But check out his YouTube. He had a great video on the director, on the developer of Last Guardian and Shadow Colossus. So check it out. He did some nice quality work. It was a really nice video. It was really good. Better than the bullshit I be doing. Better than bullshit I do. I ain't got time for that shit. So hey, anyway, to the chat, hey, thank you so much for rocking out with us. We had a great time. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. On your way out, please hit the like button. You know, hit it up on your social media, and tune in next week. All right. 60 Frames No Like Podcast. This is your boy, Porter Rock, and to my friends, my family, and fellow gamers, thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, and if you're checking out this podcast for the first time, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you become a subscriber, all right? Take care, people. We out.